Hello everyone, this is the final stop on the Halloween extravaganza train. Today I'm gonna be reading Sweets, a tale from Grizzly Tales for Gruesome Kids by Jamie Reese. Here we go. You only have to go into a shop and you can see them. Horrible children tugging at their mother's dresses, or running around a display counter screaming their heads off and blasting imaginary spacemen. Red-cheeked cherubs looking innocently behind a rack of clothes they have just spat in the pockets of all the trousers. Dirty fingers in the food hall. Grubby noses smeared across the squeaky clean plated glass windows. And worst of all, those high-pitched voices whining and whinging. I want some sweets. And also was another cry that stretches the breaking point and turns itself into a snowy placid outdoors a gibbering wreck. I'm bored. I want a present. I want a toy or some sweets. Why can't I have some sweets? I want to buy something. Can I have a pony or some sweets or an oxygen? It's not fair. It never be anything. Moan, moan, sob, sob, whimper, whimper, bellyache. Thomas Ratchet was a horrible child. When his mother took him shopping, he would misbehave so badly that people would stare under their breath. One day he was particularly naughty. His mother had taken him and his little sister Emily to the local supermarket to do the week's shopping. Is this your child? Said the store detective to Miss Ratchet. She was trying to buy her groceries at the checkout. Oh dear, what has he done now? Said Miss Ratchet. He was eating the nanas, said the store detective. I was bored, said Thomas. Not only that, I caught him using a trolley as a race car. Oh, she said. Thomas didn't look at all ashamed. He looked rather pleased with himself. Can I have some sweets now, mother? Then, continued the detective, he emptied a carton of yogurt on the floor to see how far he could slide on. He stole some chocolate out of an old lace basket. He changed the price that was on the cereal packets. He climbed onto the top shelf with the biscuits, shouting, "Look at me, I'm a monkey!" And finally, he brought a anti cream down the front of my trousers when I tried to stop. Thomas laughed. He had a great time, but he hadn't so much fun since he wished on that chest freezer in Sainsbury and turned the delicatessen counter into an ice-cold swimming pool. The store detective frog marched Thomas out of the shop, one hand on the seat of his trousers, the other firmly grasped his right ear. Miss Ratchet hurried along behind, muttering, "Sorry." And I don't know what's come over him. He's not normally this naughty, but of course he was. Can I have some sweets now? Said Thomas when they were standing on the pavement. No, you cannot. They visited the chemist to buy some nappies for Emily. Stay right next to me, Thomas, said his mother, who was starting to sound annoyed. And don't touch anything. So Thomas was saying, run away and lay your hands on anything you can find. If you can break it, so much the better. No, he always did the opposite of what he was told. In the chemist, he fired toothpaste out of small talk. He fed lollipops to a baby without removing the wrappers, and he used a bottle of suntan to write his name all over the floor. Get him out of here! Shouted the manageress. And don't come back! Can I have some sweets first, Mum? Whined Thomas. Poor Mrs. Ratchet was in a right old tears as she was bundled out of the shop. Sorry, she muttered for the second time that morning. I really don't know what's come over him. He's not normally this naughty, but of course he was. Now just behave yourself, Thomas, said his mother. I will if I can have some sweets, he moaned. In the newsagents, he demanded a comic. In the butcher's, he broke a dozen eggs when he used them to play catch. In the baker's, he glued up the cherry box by cramming a jam donut into the slot. And in the bank, he dropped an old man by trying to call for his legs. Walk forwardly, Thomas, she said wearily as they let the bank and started for home. Do try to keep up. I can't, he said. I want some sweets. Then, you never buy me any sweets. If you behave yourself for once, she replied. Then I might. I want some sweets, he shouted again. You're horrible. I never want to see you again. With that, he took off to his heels. As he took to his heels and ran around the corner, he could hear his mother's voice calling out to him, Thomas, come back here! His voice got far, Her voice got far and far away until finally he couldn't hear it at all. Then he started running. He turned around to see where he was. He had ran around a narrow alley. The buildings were tall and thin, and the pavement was made of cobblestones. All of the windows were shuttered, and the short flights of worn stone steps led up to heavy wooden front doors. The street looked deserted. Thomas was just about to turn around and go back the way he had come, when he heard a squeaking voice above his head. He looked up sharply, half expecting to see a bat or something, but all he could see was an old sharp sign, creaking gently in the wind. The sign said quite simply, Sweets, bang 3 times on door and wait. Thomas didn't need to be told twice. He banged 3 times on the door. Nobody came. He waited for a minute or so and banged again. Harder this time, and longer. He was making enough noise to wake the dead from their graves. When he heard the footsteps approaching, they shuffled towards them and stopped on the other side of the door. Thomas heard a jangle of keys, then a bolt being pulled back. The door edged open, and he found himself looking straight into the bloodshot eyes of a tiny, rickety old man with wispy white hair and rotten teeth. The sign says bang 3 times, he hissed. I wanted some sweets, said Thomas, and you were taking too long. Sometimes, said the old man, it doesn't pay to be hasty. You must be Thomas Ratchet. How did you know that? Said Thomas, following the old man aside. I've been expecting you for quite some time, said the old man, as he shut the front door behind Thomas and slid the heavy bolt home. The old man's shop didn't look anything like a sweet shop. It was dark and damp, and smelled of cats. Long narrow strips of sticky paper hung from the ceiling, covered with thousands of dead flies. Mice ran in and out of the furniture. In the corner, Thomas thought he could see a large pile of bodies, but when his eyes got used to the light, he realized that it was only a pile of shop window dummies. I thought those were bodies, he said to the old man. Don't be ridiculous. This is a sweet shop. Now what would you like? Lemon sherbets, liquid stretches, and 6 sticks of rock, said Thomas. Your favorites, said the old man. You seem to know a lot about me. I also know that when you go shopping with your mother, you are the worst behaved boy in the world, said the old man, retreating into a second room behind the counter. I'm not, said Thomas. If you bought me sweets, I'd be as good as gold. Are you sure? Those are shop window dummies in the corner. Why do you ask? Said the old man, reaching for a large net hanging on the back of the door. I thought I saw their eyes move, said Thomas. The old man laughed as he unhooked the net and flicked a switch on the wall. Thomas heard an engine start up in the next room. So, where are my sweets? Through here, said the old man, beckoning Thomas through the back room. You don't like chops then? I hate them, said Thomas. They're so boring. There's never anything to do. What a pity, said the old man. Still, I expect you'll get used to them. Thomas was about to what he meant by that last remark when the old man suddenly scooped up him in his net and deposited him into a vast cauldron of churning white papier-mâché. Splash! When Thomas woke up, he felt very stiff. This old man is a trickster, he thought to himself. He hasn't got any sweets. I'm getting out of here right now. He tried to raise the egg, but it must have been trapped because it couldn't move. He's tied me up, thought Thomas. I'll bash him for this. He tried to move his arm, but that was stuck fast, as were his head, feet, and hands. He was trapped. He could just move his eyes. Looking down, he suddenly realized what had happened. Ba ba ba! It was too awful for words. The old man had set him in papier-mâché. I don't want to be a shop dummy, shouted Thomas, but unfortunately he was. Thomas spends all his time in shops nowadays. He stands in the window and watches the world pass by. If you look closely at shop dummies in future, you might see Thomas. His eyes will follow you down the street, but it won't be you that is interested. He's waiting for his mother to find him. She stopped at his window last week and looked straight at him. She seemed to recognize Thomas's face, but she obviously couldn't remember where from. When she does remember, I think she'll come and get him. Don't you? And that's the end of my Halloween extravaganza. Like, subscribe, and click the bell to see my latest videos. Bye bye.